Hey everybody, we're back. Scott Kelby here with our in-studio guest Marc Silber, and Eric Kuhn of the Rocket Man is with us. We are talking about how to be more creative in 2020. Just a couple of things real quick, housekeeping stuff before we get going. So tomorrow I'm taking a class, so if you are a serious iPhone photographer, I got a class for you on shooting portraits with nothing but the iPhone.
And I think what's really cool about the iPhone, or where we're going with photography, is this topic. This will be the relevant topic in the future.
It is.
And that's where I can't wait for it. And this is why I can't wait for it. You know, when I go out shooting, I'm kind of known as it happened to me just this last, hours spending talking to people because they know, oh, you can go ask Eric about it. He'll explain it to you. You know, a lot of people don't want to explain their settings. A lot of people don't want to explain what they're doing, but I love to talk about that stuff. But I would love to get to that point where we don't have to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where the iPhone is getting. And that's what I love about it, is we're getting to the point where auto is actually auto. Like, what you see is what you get. And now it's all about the creativity, and it's nothing about the setting.
Right.
And that really, really leads me to one of the things that I was kind of talking about. We want to get more creative. And one of the things I have here, number 2, is know your gear.
Yeah.
You really have to. You really have to know your gear, because what you have to do is take your gear out of the equation. You actually have to get so good that you know how your camera is going to work. And that doesn't mean that you always use manual mode.
Right.
And that's what I find I shoot with them all the time.
Yeah.
And they're in manual mode, and they're wondering why my shot's so much better. And they're wondering why it's so much. What's your secret? What's your thing? And it's like, because you're in manual mode, and I'm in after priority.
Yeah, you're messing with settings.
You're messing with settings.
To get it right.
I don't have to.
Right.
And they're fighting, and then they started experimenting with it, and they're going, wow. Well, I was told that unless I'm not a photographer until I switch to manual mode. Like, I'm fine with you learning manual mode, and I think that you should learn manual mode because I think that will help you. But knowing your gear and knowing how to remove the gear out of the equation to where you know the settings, it's automatic, it's there, you just know. And when you do that, I guarantee you will get more creative, but you'll actually find yourself, I'm telling you, you'll find yourself not shooting in manual mode a lot of times.
You know, the other
when
part
you know
of that,
your gear.
Absolutely. And the other part of that, Eric, is Bob Holmes, who I've interviewed many times, National Geographic photographer, 14-time winner of the Travel Award of the Year. You know, his point, I mentioned this to you guys, don't let the camera get in the way of your photography.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is that
absolutely.
a great quote? That is an incredible quote. Don't let the camera gear get in the way of your photography. That is great.
It will. If you are stumbling around and you're constantly thinking, what are my settings? You're not looking at your subject. You're not looking at the light.
It's a different part of your brain, right? The part of your brain that worries about camera settings is a different part of the brain that makes beautiful pictures.
It's like being a great chef. They're not thinking about the exact ingredients, whatever. They're able to think with how this is all coming together and what does it taste like. But the other thing, too, that goes along with that is you have to know your camera so well that you can see what the camera sees. Because what our eyes seeing is going to be very different than your camera. And you have to know it well enough so that you know what this camera is going to record. And that just comes from practice.
Or where we're getting,
you
shoot with the iPhone.
And it's
what you see is what you get.
Exactly.
And that's,
if you get there, for sure.
You know what's interesting about Eric's journey? So Eric was an iPhone photographer first, because he used to shoot with your iPhone all the time.
All the time.
Then he went to DSLR photographer. Now, I'm not talking about the rockets, but Eric started carrying a DSLR everywhere. He still has to use DSLR for rockets, at least for another year.
We'll see.
Another year or
But
two.
now, when we go, Eric and I went to New York for Photo Plus, and we go to different places. He's only taking his iPhone again.
Yep.
Well,
full circle.
Hey,
He's come full circle.
For one thing, it's with you all the time.
And you know what else? So if you ask people what started the craze of mirrorless, and it was simply this, because if you sell, what's the big advantage to mirrorless? People are like,
it's smaller.
There's no mirror.
Well,
smaller
they
and lighter.
Smaller and lighter, but then when they get into it, they're like, ooh, wait a minute.
But look at this.
Yeah, this is a mirrorless.
This is smaller and lighter.
Yeah.
You're already carrying a camera, and now you're going to carry another. Anyway, that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
This little attachment over Christmas. I don't know if I showed it to you.
No.
But I added 5 lenses to my iPhone right there with just that little attachment.
Dude.
What does it do? What do the lenses do?
2 macros, a telephoto, a fisheye, and a polarizer.
How's the telephoto?
It's good. It goes up to 4x now.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it actually is really good. But it just came out. I got it on Kickstarter. It's,
all right.
And we asked some comments here. So,
Yeah.
and that was an interesting one I saw that popped up. Is Jerry said that I just experienced that when I forgot my camera on a trip to Victoria, British Columbia. So I was forced to use my phone for photos. My entire focus was on composition.
There you go.
And I'm telling you, that's what it's interesting. Like it is an interesting thing that we're getting into here.
Yeah.
Photography will not die.
Right.
Like people are like all worried about like, oh, photography is dead. Everybody's shooting video or they're doing something like we will always.
I think when they say photography's dead, they're worried about DSLR
They're thinking
style
cameras.
and that's what it
photography,
is.
big
Photography
camera.
will never die.
Yeah.
Photography is just going to transcend to another thing. And I think what's happening right now is I've seen people getting very creative with this.
Yeah.
Because the technical is just kind of stripped out. And it's what you see is what you get. Not to say that people watching this show are going to just like throw away their DSLR or their mirrorless.
Yeah.
But the world is becoming to that point where being creative with photography, those camera settings and those gear settings are starting to fade away.
Yeah.
And it's just so different.
Go ahead.
No.
You go, because I'm looking up something.
Well, I was on the show here before, and I was talking about my book on composition, and the way I wrote it was for any camera, including an iPhone, because really this is where we are going, you're right, which is the bulk of what a photographer should be concentrating on is how to get that amazing composition. But this also ties into creativity. So what I found was 83...
There you go. I got that same shot.
There it is.
Except my daughter is standing in that same spot.
I got Mimo standing in that same
I got
spot.
my
That is a
daughter
great. That's
standing in
my
that same
wife.
spot.
She actually art
It's on
directed
the
it.
Orsay
that's very
Museum.
The d'Orsay Museum
on
in
the
Paris.
top floor.
Yep, and it works.
It's a great shot.
It's a wonderful place.
And then the Montmartre is in the background. there.
Exactly, and you can look through that window and see Paris. It's
Yep,
incredible.
That's great.
So, what I did with this book is I found 83 composition, call them recipes. So, Scott, this also fits into how do I, break out of that creative rut? Well, just like a cook could follow a recipe and get some new ideas, or how you get into a song and deconstruct it, you can take those recipes and go out and shoot. They're new and different for you. Some of them are some of the ones you've used before, like a leading line or whatever.
Yeah.
But part of it is going off in different ones and trying them out. Use your iPhone and go out and try those compositional.
Well, I'm
points.
doing it. I've got 14,000 photos on my phone. It's a ridiculous
It's
amount
ridiculous.
of
Me
Is that
too.
all?
Yeah.
Maybe we
Me
should
too.
get some more space here.
Yeah. Well, I got 256 gig in this new one. I was looking for something I wasn't able to find, but I saw an article. I think it was yesterday, that was, and I want to say it's on Petapixel, but it was on Petapixel or F-Stoppers, where they compared a Sony AR7 III or 4, whatever they're mirrorless, with the iPhone 11 Pro. They took a picture in Norway, in Lofoten.
Yeah.
They put them side by side, and they said, "You tell me which one is which." And I'm looking at them, and I'm going, I wouldn't have bet
I've seen
$100
the
bucks.
same
You
thing
can't
where
tell.
somebody
I
did
would not say this one.
They did a Canon 1DX Mark II versus the iPhone shooting portraits. And you have to look for a very specific thing. You got to be very trained. But I'm telling you, I showed it to other people, and they make you go through the, like pick one.
Yeah.
And once you know the secret, because there's one thing, the DSLR is still got an edge over it. But most people do not. They don't see it.
Right.
They
Yeah.
look at it and they go, that's the expensive
Well, this was a-
$10,000 camera. That's the expensive
It's like
they're
the
camera.
wrong.
wine tasting, It's
Yep.
people pick the wrong stuff all the time.
And you'll always pick Pizza Hut.
Always.
You know
Pizza's not
why?
bad.
Because you can't
It's
out
not
Pizza
bad.
the Hut.
It's not bad. I
Pizza
like
Hut is
Pizza Hut.
surprisingly good.
I like Pizza Hut.
It has a bad rap,
It's
but
not
their
bad.
pizzas are
Yeah.
actually very good.
Yeah.
You can't out Pizza the Hut.
There
You
you
can't
go.
have football without the Hut.
All right. So
Come on.
we got to take a
Scott,
break. I
Work
think,
with
right?
me here.
Yeah, we got to take a break.
Really?
We got to call Pizza Hut.
All right.
I got
Hey.
some more tips too.
Oh, yeah. What were you coming back?